Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Tonight I want to get into some frequently asked questions. These are questions that you guys leave on the channel, and it's been a week or two since I've done one of these, so we do it regularly. We get into the comments, the questions you guys are dropping, because I know that you're not the only one who wonders, so that's what we'll do tonight. I'm just going to go through some questions that I see in a random order. They're just those that pop up. I don't know what they're about. I don't have prepared answers. Hopefully this is an interesting conversation and also helps you understand the game better, maybe my thinking around it, and who knows what else. Okay, so let's get into it. Before we do though, my name is Dwayne Cunningham and I go by Infidel1258, and on the channel we cover Splinterlands all day, every day. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, stick around and stay tuned. Let's get it. So, Charlie Horse, and by the way, if people drop their IGN, their in-game name, I will send them a little DEC as a thank you afterwards, because the suggestions of the content that come from these questions is actually an aid to me in the channel and the community. So I will send a little thank you of DEC after I answer questions where people have left an in-game name for me to use and do so. Okay, so Charlie Horse says, Charlie Horse. Why buy the cheap reward cards if you're getting them in chests? Seems risky. Okay, so must have, he left that comment on my video, must have modern commons. Okay, so I think I talked about the Pelacor Mercenary and how great that card is. And I talked about how I really believe that it's going to be more expensive in the future. And so to answer the question, when you're, why would you buy some of these low cost reward cards since the game's giving them to you while you play it? Well, the first thing is because you enjoy the game and you have a long-term vision for where this game could grow, and that would imply a price appreciation on the assets that are within the game, the cards. These are non-fungible tokens. Each of them is a non-fungible token that you own and that you're capable of renting or using to farm land in the future, or competing in guild brawls, or you can sell in the marketplace or play in the rank battles, whether it's modern or wild. So that's like 5 or 6 different use cases that for each of these assets. And each of these assets is limited in supply and constantly shrinking because of the way that they have to be merged in order to level up their power. Add to that the growing player base of this game, and that's a recipe. That's an argument that I'm making to you, and you can accept this argument or you can reject it. But that's an argument I'm making to you to show you that it's justifiable to us to believe that there will be price appreciation on these assets. So why would you buy some of these assets while they're so inexpensive? I mean, because they're so inexpensive and they're deflationary in nature. And it's like, if that's true, if what I just said to you makes sense, if you think that argument holds water, then what I'm saying to you is that you might want to buy some because they are really inexpensive and they won't always be. That's kind of the crux of my whole position on why this game is super interesting. First of all, I like it. And it's interesting, like I enjoy playing it, and I have for years. That's really important to repeat, because this game is not just a financial opportunity. It's a form of entertainment first, and it happens to be a financial opportunity second. That's really interesting, and that's why this game is, uniquely. It's why I have a channel talking about the video game, but the fact that it's fun first means that I might want to buy some of these just so I could play the game. But second, the fact that they're deflationary in nature makes me want to believe that buying some of them will probably pay off financially in a long enough time horizon. And whenever I say that, I'm generally speaking about between bull markets. So like, right now, I think we're probably 4 years away from the beginnings or the process of the next bull market. And I would think that we're probably 6 months to a year away from the Pelacor Mercenary and other such cards being sold out, being no longer printed. And so between now and 4 years from now, I think these assets in particular, these amazing reward cards that are on the screen here, Pelacor Mercenary being maybe the chief among them, will be worth way more than they are currently. That's my opinion. That is just an opinion. I have no evidence except it's a good card that helps you win in the game, and in the past cards have appreciated in value. I think that's pretty meaningful evidence, but I can't say that it's, I don't think that proves my point. So this is an interesting conversation. I wanted to tackle this question in this video first, because I do think there's room for debate, and I'd love to hear a response from Charlie Horse, if he's got some pushback on my, maybe the value proposition I described about the deflationary nature of these cards, or why, do you have concerns that these won't appreciate? Because I think if you even figure just normal appreciation once they're no longer in circulation, regardless of the fact that it's a good card, forgetting for a moment that the card needs to be, copies of it are literally deleted while the player base is growing, all that whole argument that I just raised, it's like it's in circulation right now, so the supply is at its highest ever. It's literally being flooded onto the market through your loot chest. There will come a time when that stops, and usually when supply runs out and demand persists, you can expect what? Price appreciation. And so I hope that's the most thorough answer to that question that I can provide. And if there's, I guess, debate or concern or doubt around what I'm saying to you here, I'd love to see a comment on this video so I can better understand the viewpoint that you're bringing to the table here. Because I definitely, as far as I'm concerned, these prices are ridiculous, and I don't consider it risky at all. If I was to buy a 3-cent card, I think I have probably thousands of copies of the Pelican Mercenary at this point. The only question is, how long are you willing to be invested in a game like this? As far as I'm concerned, it's literally, to me, it's that simple. But you have to both agree. You have to start by asking, do you think the game is fun? And second, I guess, do you believe in the longevity of it? Usually that's founded on the idea that it is entertaining, but then also that you trust the development, right? So if you go that far, then I think the only real lingering question is which cards make sense to invest in. Whether you invest with your time by earning them through your loot chests, or whether you invest with your money by buying them off the market. Either way, you're investing in accumulating assets that I would believe are going to appreciate. And so if this 3-cent card goes to 1 cent, that means nothing to me, because I won't sell it for 3 cents. I won't sell it for 1 cent. I won't sell it for 10 cents. It would be a card that I would hold until it was probably worth $1. That's my future price prediction on Mercenary, and that could be 4 years away. I'm not promising it to you, but that's my estimation and understanding of the value of a card like this, which is a good quality tank with amazing abilities and a good kit with a reasonable mana cost, and I think it's an excellent card. So for all the reasons I laid out, that's why I would personally be interested in buying cheap reward cards, because the short of it is I'm not going to get enough of that asset by just playing the game. In my opinion, it's worth putting a little value, a little investment into a game like this, because of my confidence in it, because of the history and the growth of the game over a last bear market, and lastly, because, like I said, I find the game entertaining. Thanks for the question, Charlie. Next time, leave a in-game name and I'll drop you a little DEC. Papaderos, a very important matter. Okay, overrated and overpriced cards. Yes, okay. A very important matter is the CP, the collection power future, when the airdrop comes to an end. Okay? When the CP future, when the airdrop, okay. If the game is not rewarding you somehow for buying cards holding much CP, why not rent only cards to reach certain levels every month, why to buy except then trading purposes? Why to hold DEC and not only the other 2 coins on the game? SPS and credits. For me, there should be another reward plan and not rewarding you SPS something else. So there's clearly a bit of an English barrier there, but I think it seems to me the general concern is around the fact that holding cards in Splinterlands, one of the main reasons why a person would hold assets in the game is to accumulate SPS airdrops, because there are SPS being paid out every single day to people who hold DEC, people who have collection power. Collection power is the value, the in-game value of the card assets you own. And so if you have, like I have 2.6 million collection power, that's a number given to me or assigned to me based on the cards I own on this account. And so I think he's saying, like, when the SPS airdrop stops, when the airdrop comes to an end, if they don't create some other reward, why would people buy these cards? And I think, first of all, in the video, I talk about how certain cards are overrated. And so I'm kind of arguing that these are cards, there are certain cards you don't want to buy. It kind of feels like I don't know if I'm misreading it, but it feels like he's saying, he's asking me, why am I recommending you to buy cards? And I'm not. In that video specifically, I was saying these are cards you don't want to buy. But on a broader, or maybe the more specific answer to the question around, the CP, the future of CP, and after the airdrop ends, I think you're not understanding that these cards first, not these cards in the video that you're watching, because I specifically said those ones are overpriced and overrated. But many of the cards in the game, like the one we just talked about, the Pellicor Mercenary, and many of them the modern reward cards, they are interesting, they are valuable, they are useful, they are probably a good investment, at least in my opinion. And it's not because there's an airdrop that's going on right now. That's almost entirely unrelated. It's not. It's cool, but it's almost trivial in comparison to the long-term ramifications of owning assets. So what do I mean? When you hold a certain amount of cards, like for instance, one Pellicor Mercenary is only worth 5 collection power. That's not a lot. And so it's 3 cents for 5 collection power. That's not a lot. If you want if you want airdrop points, the best thing to do is hold DEC. And that's dangerous. I'm not telling you should do it. I'm doing a bit of it, but some people are holding millions and millions. There are better ways. If you really care about SPS airdrop, there are better ways to extract value from that. And that airdrop is only going on for, by the way, another 141 days. So that's rapidly running out. And so I think he's saying, look, the airdrop's running out. It doesn't really make sense to hold cards in this game and they're going to lose value. I disagree. If that's what he's saying, I disagree, because for all the reasons I said in the first answer to the first question, these cards are deflationary. So the good ones will appreciate. But also, I think it's really important to say that you're not acknowledging any of the future use cases that have already been laid out. For instance, some of the older cards, which have unique amounts of collection power, are going to be those that will farm land the most effectively, and they will therefore carry their value forward into the development of this game, because land will be coming out in the relatively near future, and that's going to mean that these older cards with higher collection powers are going to have unique use cases, and they're going to be rented out, they're going to be bought because of that, they're going to hold their values in part because of that. And then we have the wild versus modern formats that are coming to this game. So that's going to be a distinction and a separation of, I guess, use cases for old versus new cards. And that's going to mean that old cards have a certain place in a niche that people are going to want to be able to have access to. So that's going to be another reason that they're going to carry their value forward. And lastly, collectability is a concern that some people have. And so some people really just like collecting things, and they will buy a $50,000 card because it's exceedingly rare, not necessarily because they love the game, not necessarily because they want to play with the card, not necessarily because they feel future appreciation will be a guarantee, but simply because they're collectors. I know people like this, and maybe you do too. So I think the comment as best I can understand it, is actually misunderstanding the main use of cards in this game and the long-term value proposition of them. Let's move on. Thanks for the question, Papa. Damien says, Dwayne, can you answer me? Why is this happening? I achieve gold 3 and game give me daily reward from silver 1. I think that must be the case that you had a lack of power. So when you're in a given rank, when you're in, like I'm in Diamond 3, I think right now. Yep, Diamond 3. And so in Diamond 3, you need 250,000 collection power to be at this level. And if you don't have 250,000 power, you will not be in Diamond 3. So you can fight and achieve your rating to be in this range from 2,800 to 3,099, and you technically are in Diamond 3. But after that's the first question. And the second question is, do you have 250,000 power or more? And if the answer to the second question is no, then you don't get to be a Diamond 3 reward receiver. So then the game will say, well, no, you only have 100,000 power or whatever. And therefore you are going to get this rank rating, 22 loot chests per season. And that's going to change the amount of daily quest loot chests you're able to unlock. And in your case, I think what did you say? You were at, I achieved gold 3 and it only gives me silver 1 daily reward. So you're in gold 3, which says that you're between 1900 and 2200 rating. But if you're receiving silver, whatever it was, that means you didn't have enough collection power on your deck at the time when you opened your loot chests. Now you might rent cards and they expired or they canceled on you. You might have sold cards or delegated cards away. That's what's happening. You somehow are lacking the power that you need. So check that out next time, okay? How we doing? We'll do 3 more questions. Do you know when they are going against... Oh, hang on a second. I missed one. Pim was asking about my daughter. He says, luckily she is in good hands. Let's hope she'll be fine. What happened to her? So Lumina went to the hospital last Friday. That's my second daughter. She's my youngest daughter. And Lumina went to the hospital on Friday because she was throwing up. And unfortunately, she was throwing up and there was blood in it. And my nurse, I was upstairs. My nurse was downstairs with my daughter, and she's yelling. And she says, Dwayne, come. And I come downstairs quickly, and I see like a lot of blood, a really terrifying amount of blood. And I'm trying to be calm and, attentive and like, patient with the nurse and like not freak out, because I need to be calm. Like, what's happening? Like, how do I solve this? Like, what, do we, and my mind's racing. And I called 911 and they were on the phone with me, and it, she stopped throwing up. There's blood all over this towel. Like I'm on 911 and I'm trying not to like freak out. It sounds the ambulance comes and they inspect her. They didn't seem very concerned. I didn't really know why, but anyways, we went to a hospital. They took her to a hospital, and I rode with her. And at the hospital, we had, a variety of tests done, some blood work and whatnot. She was put on an IV so she could get her fluids up. And we were there for several hours, and she was given a really serious seizure medication, because she does have seizures. And that day and a couple days before, she was having a lot of big seizures, long seizures. And so she was given some serious drugs for that. And I was there with her, and lots of amazing friends just praying for me, reaching out to me, including you guys, like leaving amazing comments, encouraging, supportive, loving. Thank you. I really believe that, first of all, God protects my girl. And second of all, God loves our family and my daughter through his people. And when I say that, I mean like you guys sharing love and kindness, prayers and, kind thoughts and encouragement. to me, that's like the hands and feet of God in this world. So thank you very much. And that was a really hard day. And we don't really know what was wrong. Like, I mean, she has seizures, but that shouldn't cause throwing up. She has seizures, but that definitely shouldn't cause the bleeding. The doctors think maybe she had a nosebleed and it went like back and then came out. But the short answer is we don't know what happened. We don't know why it went away, but now it seems to be done. She hasn't thrown up again since then. Saturday, we came into the hospital on Friday via ambulance, and we were able to leave on Friday, and we've been home ever since. On the weekend, she was much better, but still lethargic and also really cranky. She's been crying a lot, I think, and fussing a lot. I think maybe she's got like a big tooth coming in. My daughter's mostly nonverbal, so we can't ask her how she's feeling. You can, but you have to then interpret her nonverbal response. And so that's Lumina's story from this weekend. And it was a tough one. Thank you very much. That's partly why, the reduced coverage on the channel, reduced videos. But thank you very much, Pim, and everybody else for so many wonderful. Honestly, I was crying, reading some of these comments and sharing it with my wife. And it's thank you for all of the concern and interest. And she's a beautiful girl, and so is my big girl Hazel. And we're very lucky. And they're two amazing girls, and we are super proud of them both. And so that's all I can really tell you about that. Don't know what happened. Let's get three. No, I better do two more. Early Gabber. Do you know when they are going against all these bots? 90% of the matches are against bots. I feel it's a bit of a joke. They always have the one team ready, which you will lose against. It does not matter what you pick. It feels like that they somehow know what you are going to pick. Is that only in bronze, or does it happen in higher leagues too? Let's read what some of these replies are. Steven says, it's mostly just in bronze, I think. The different rule sets at higher leagues make it easier to outsmart the bots in my experience. I agree with Steven's comment. Early Gabber says, yeah, when I'm above 500 points, it's easy to win most of the rounds, but if I'm under 400, it's a pain. And then Chris said, yeah, for me, I play up to silver 2, and it feels like mainly bots. I used to play every day, but I've lost interest since 8 out of 10 games are against bots. There seems to be way more bots than people. The guys with thousands of bots running are soaking up all the rewards, causing the game to be less rewarding for regular players. Hopefully it will improve in the future. And lastly, Early says, I hope they will fix it. It costs hours of playing to even get the ranks again, where you get DC for wins after the reset. Okay. So I wanted to read that all because I thought maybe there might be extra context from some of the back and forth replies. But what I'm hearing is frustration around, first of all, the bot armies that exist. There are many accounts that are run by bots, and that can be annoying to lose against, because you often can tell that they're bots. But here's the pushback that I would give to the initial comment. He says 90% of the matches are against bots, and he doesn't like it. And he says they always have one team which you will lose against. This sentence to me doesn't make much sense, because it's like you're kind of saying they're predictable and they always beat me. Why do they always beat you if they're predictable? And I think that's something I want you to really think about, because the bots are kind of a joke if you understand what they're doing and how they operate, and once you see through their tricks. And you're right, sometimes it's obvious this is a bot account. The name is like bot123. The last 5 matches are all death, and they always play these monsters. If that's the case, though, it shouldn't be difficult to overcome that hurdle. In fact, it should be to your advantage. So this can be an opportunity for people who are attentive and who have the skill and maybe a little bit of the assets to overcome that hurdle. And this can be actually a benefit to you by allowing you to get out of that lower level faster if you can see what's coming. So I do think if you honestly believe that they are 9 out of 10 matches, which I don't play bronze very often, so I can't comment on that. But let's say there are 9 out of 10 matches, and if you do believe they are predictable, then you really should be winning, 5 or 6 out of those 9 matches. 60-70% win rate should be attainable, and you should just cruise to your highest levels, dependent on whatever your highest level is, depending on your collection power. That's how I feel about bots. I mean, I'm not just responding to early Gabber here. This is kind of a reoccurring comment and a reoccurring criticism of Splinterlands. These bots are annoying. First of all, I think the annoyance is that, we want to be able to, we don't want to lose to that. We want to be able to play real people, and we want to see unique challenges that are kind of variable and surprising and unique, and that come from humans. You don't want to see the same thing over and over again. It's like playing a video game where you can't beat a certain level, and it gets annoying, and eventually turn off the game. I get all that. But if you step back and you say, okay, look, they are predictable. That's a weakness. Let me exploit that weakness for my own gain. That's the angle here. And so I don't really accept the criticism that there are too many bots and it's ruining the game. Nor do I concede, later on you said that there are too many bots and they're soaking up all the rewards. I actually think that has largely been changed because of how they've restructured the reward system. And so the higher level you reach, the less and less true your statement will become. Meaning if you get into silver, if you get in gold, if you get into diamond or higher, you're going to find fewer and fewer bots. And that's the case because it's really easy to make one account at bronze 3 and just run a bot on it because you don't need any cards. But it is much harder to have a diamond 1 or champion 1 account with bots. That's not a thing. They aren't smart enough. There's too many variables. There's too many different rule sets. There's too many mana differences. There's too many splinters that are excluded. So if you're super interested in finding that unique gaming experience, you probably need to find your way out of bronze and into higher levels. Silver is going to still see a lot of bots, but even if you can't afford that, just forget this talk about I want to get away from the bots and maybe just lean into exploiting them. Let them be your stepping stone onto greater bigger and bigger rewards, because that's certainly possible if you understand the game they're playing and then you learn to respond and take advantage of their lack of adaptability. Be adaptable and take advantage of their lack of adaptability. And last question, state of survival. Hey Dwayne, I wasn't here when Steam started, so I was wondering if you can provide an example of a card in the old times that went for 3 cents, which is now upwards of X dollars. There is so many good ones, man. Yeah. Okay, so Jason Jenkins says Creeping Ooze used to be a cent. That's true. Peaceful Giant used to be a cent. That is true. Let's go look at some of these cards. So first of all, let's look at the old reward cards. These cards in front of you were handed out to players who played the game for free. Like in my early first question, the guy said, why would you buy reward cards that are being given out by the game? This is why. Look at this card. This card is selling for $120 per BCX. Right there, $119.89 for 1 BCX. And this card was being given away for free to players who played the game and unlocked loot chests. And I received some of them for free. And I eventually sold my Ulysses because it was worth, I don't know, it was worth like, I think I might have sold it for $60 for a max copy, which is ludicrous now. But that's the thing, like these cards appreciate it over time. So they were free and then they were $5 and now they're $120. Will they be more in the future? I kind of think so, but maybe I mean, here's the deal. Even if they double in price there's other cards that will be bigger home runs later, and they are these ones that are currently in circulation. Maybe it's Pellicor Mercenary, maybe it's Oceanus, which is a current right? Oceanus is a current reward card, isn't he? Yeah. Oceanus selling for $4. One day this could be $100. I think it will be. Bilka, I feel the same way. Maybe Heartclaw, but it kind of depends on some of the other synergies that are out there. It's an okay card. It's not an excellent card. It certainly will go up, though. It's not going to be $2 in 4 years. Maybe 25, 30, 50 bucks. I think some cards will really be home runs and some cards will go up a little. And the question, to answer the question that we're dealing with now, which ones went up? Ruler of the Seas was literally free. Kraken I used to pay 90 cents for this card. 90. And I remember it was at $1 and I thought that was a good deal and it just kept falling. 95 cents, 90. I think in the 80s, sometimes I'd buy it for 80 cents. This is a $70 card and it's amazing. And I think, this was when one of the first big monsters with the 12 mana, maybe people didn't know how to use it. Maybe people didn't understand it. And that's what I talk about sometimes, where it's like the meta evolves and people, as the meta evolves, people begin to understand what they didn't understand at first, which is, this can work in this other way. And if I use the taunt in this position, maybe that changes how the game will unfold and gives me an opportunity to win. And I think, I can't explain it exactly. But part of it is the fact that they are in circulation for a time, and then they are not. And that is so important. That's why they are deflationary. There is a limited supply, and that supply is always diminishing, but the demand is always growing because the player base is always growing. If that statement is true, limited supply, diminishing supply, increasing demand, if that is true, these cards will appreciate. And when you ask for examples, this one was not 80-90 cents per. This was being given away for free. This card I used to buy for about $1. This one, I think it was a little under, I think it might have been 80-90 cents. Lord Erranthus used to be $5 per. What else? So those are some. I used to buy and sell Daria Dragon Scales for $1. Anything around $1 was a good price, and if you could get it like under $1, and I'd sell them for $1 as like a flip. Now we're $23 per. Shadowy Presence, I used to buy them for 10 cents, and now they're over $6. Onyx Sentinel, I believe it was 10 cents when I was, maybe even 5 cents when I was buying dozens and dozens of copies. Every card here has a similar story, and the older cards are almost all share that story. I mean, it's easier for me to remember. I can't remember all of them, right? But I remember paying $40 for a Max Lord of Darkness. Now a Max Lord of Darkness is going to cost you $1,500. I remember paying $40 for a Max Lightning Dragon. Now it's going to be $1,500. So there's just so many examples. I remember buying the Angel of Light for $3 per BCX. I bought level 3, which is 5 BCX. I bought 3 copies or 4 copies of level 3. So I think it was roughly 20 BCX. And it was $3 per BCX, or $15 per card. So $60. I bought 4 of them for $60. And that was, somebody was liquidating. Somebody was just like sick of the game or something, so they're selling them for really, really cheap. And I remember it was like 5 or 6 of them being sold by the same guy. I bought 3 or 4 of them, and I immediately relisted them because that was a good deal even then. $3 even then was like, it was about almost half price. I relisted them for $5 each per BCX, and that was a deal because look, it's 50. So, every single card in this game has that story. Limited in number, diminishing supply, increasing demand. That is the recipe that this game offers you. That's the magic, that's the secret sauce of Splinterlands, and of non-fungible token games that pay you with NFTs for your time and attention. If the NFTs are limited in number and diminishing in supply, and there's an increasing demand due to player base growth, that's a game it makes sense to pay attention to. And then when you add to that, this game has survived a bear market, which means that you have a reasonable chance of surviving the next bear market. That's really important because probably 9 out of 10, maybe even 99 out of 100 games in this space will fail because people will lose interest. The developers will run out of money. Those two things I think are off the table for Splinterlands, because even if some of you lose interest, there are people who are sold out for this game. They're convinced, they're loving it. I've been playing the game for 3 years, and it's not because I was always making tons of money off it. I enjoy the game. It's entertainment first and an opportunity second. And so there's so many amazing cards here, and I really believe that this story isn't over. And so, I've talked about gelatinous cube before. That used to be a penny, and now it's many dollars for a gelatinous cube. I could go on and on and on with tons of different examples. This used to be a penny. Sea Genie. I remember when the Sea Genie was out, I was buying and selling it for about half a penny. The Sea Genie is now $1.29 per BCX. Yeah, $1.30 per and it was like half a penny. So there's so many examples. I can't remember them all. But every single card shares this story. And so in 4 years, if you enjoy this game now and you believe in the development and you think what I said was true about the deflationary nature of these assets, then you should just play it and earn what you can earn and achieve, whether it's 1 loot chest a day or 10. Don't forget about how trivial the rewards seem now, and just accumulate them. And remember that in 4 years, the prices will have increased due to their nature. And that is your opportunity to give yourself a retroactive raise for the investment of time and attention that you pour into this game now. And it doesn't need to be money. It can just be time and attention. If you're getting 1 loot chest a day because you're playing in bronze, that will add up to something meaningful with daily commitment to enjoy the game that hopefully you're already liking to play anyways. So let's leave it there. Thank you so much for the good questions. Unfortunately, I didn't see any in-game names this time. Please drop your in-game name so I can send you a little love. And I really appreciate all of the back and forth and even the answers, like Jason and Rob and State of Survival. Thank you guys for just the good conversation in the channel. I love it. Keep it up, guys. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Have an amazing day. God bless.